Sheffield 57, the sponsor of this webcast, invites you to visit our re-envisioned condominium residences.
Good day, I'm Adrienne Lavalley, and this is The Real Deal. Wall Street bonuses dropped by nearly 5% in 2007. The city saw a reverse in its foreclosure trend, and embattled real estate developer Harry Macklowe tapped CB Richard Ellis to help him unload the GM building before his highly publicized debt comes due in February. That and more on this edition of The Real Deal webcast. But first, some highlights from this week's interview. The city's economic outlook for 2008 is off to a rocky start. Merrill Lynch and Citigroup both announced multi-billion-dollar fourth-quarter losses last week, and a new report found that consumer spending has started to decline across the board, even at luxury retailers like Tiffany's and Nordstrom's. Real Deal reporter Jen Benepe spoke to Sam Shandon, the chief economist at Reis Inc., about how this perfect storm of events will impact the city's real estate market.
Are we headed for a recession?
There's certainly a lot of reasons to think that we might already be in a recession. I think that New York has remained isolated or insulated from a lot of what we've seen happening in other parts of the country. Rents have accelerated tremendously. Our expectation is that prices will fall. There are people who are stepping away from the home ownership market right now who are thinking about renting as an alternative.
So then rental prices actually could be going up this year.
We have seen rental prices going up significantly.
For the full interview, click on the link below. And now for the news. Average Wall Street bonuses fell by 4.7% last year because of the pounding that the financial services firms took as part of the subprime fallout, according to estimates released by the New York State Comptroller Thomas DiNapoli. But even as bonuses dipped overall, the 5 biggest security firms paid out record bonuses this year despite the fact that they've lost billions and started laying off employees. Foreclosures in New York City fell by 13% between the third and fourth quarters, according to Property Shark data. The drop marks a statistical reversal in the city, which saw foreclosures rise for the first 3 quarters of 2007, particularly in the outer boroughs. But the statistics need to be taken with a grain of salt. Compared to the final quarter of 2006, foreclosures in the city were up 71%. Real estate mogul Harry Macklowe has tapped CB Richard Ellis to market the General Motors building on Fifth Avenue, the crown jewel in his real estate portfolio. Macklowe needs to unload or recapitalize the building before his multi-billion-dollar debt comes due in February. The developer put up the property as collateral on the nearly $7 billion in loans he took last year to purchase 7 Manhattan office buildings. The City Point Tower being built in downtown Brooklyn could replace the Williamsburg Savings Bank as the borough's tallest building. The Brooklyn Eagle reported last week that the City Point building could reach 65 stories and dwarf the bank. But the project has some serious competition on its hands, with developer Bruce Ratner also gearing up to take the tallest building title with his similarly named CityTech Tower. Work at Donald Trump's Soho Tower has been halted. The city shut down construction after a worker fell more than 40 stories to his death when the floor buckled beneath him. Bovis Lendlease, which is also in charge of the demolition of the Deutsche Bank building, and Difama Concrete are in charge of construction at the site. The buildings department has cited Difama 25 times since 2001 for violations and has issued a number of violations to Bovis. New York is gaining on London and Hong Kong as the world's most expensive city for office space. A new report found that London has vaulted over Hong Kong to take the place for the world's priciest office market. But the report also said that New York is closing the gap. The rent for the most expensive Class A space in London hit $265 per square foot, while the Midtown rate hit $225 per square foot. Merrill Lynch has reported a $9.8 billion loss in the fourth quarter. The write-down is the biggest quarterly loss in the company's 93-year history and is more evidence of just how hard the subprime crisis is hitting New York's biggest financial service firms. The firm recorded more than $14 billion in write-downs from October to December last year. Median sales prices for housing in Queens fell 5.2% to $460,000 in the fourth quarter. A Radar Logic report said the figure was down from $485,000 a year before. The report showed a decline in prices throughout the Long Island Queens market. Thank you for joining us for this edition of The Real Deal's webcast. Remember to click on the link below for this week's interview. Please join us every week for the latest in real estate news. I'm Adrienne Lavalley, and this is The Real Deal.